Welcome back to Quantum Alchemists. This is episode 6 of season 2. I am your host, Mr. Alchemistic, but you can call me B. I'm joined by my gracious co-host, Mr. Quantum himself, Alex Ramiro-Vingian.
What's up, B? What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning back. How you doing today, B?
Good, man. We're coming off our biggest episode.
All right.
Actually, our biggest episode ever. So appreciate you guys for watching. Picked up a few new subscribers. So now that you're on board,
That's
hopefully
right.
we can keep you engaged. There's a lot of stuff going on
Right.
right
That's right.
now.
It was the largest episode we've done to date, right? Except for, what's funny is we had we had just as many views on on that last video that we did than the interview that you and I did originally, which actually it's funny because the interview that you and I did was kind of like what kickstarted this whole thing was after I did the interview. I was like, you know what, like we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And so here we are. And that episode got 118 views, and it's funny because we had 118 views like yesterday or the day before, and then somehow magically we lost a view. I don't know how that happens, but we lost a view.
I think it's because of duplicate views. It takes uh, the algorithm or whatever the fuck it is
It does an
will
audit and accounting of how many people
audits.
viewed it.
Yeah, I think it's probably because one of us viewed the video multiple times, either you or I. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. That our other interview from my other podcast, Talking to Strangers, which consequently haven't done an episode since you were the last episode of Talking to Strangers at the moment.
Oh
I
wow.
would love to redo it again, but you can find that interview on Alchemistic Productions, a different YouTube. We usually link it in the description if you guys want to check out mine and Alex's first interview. It was actually a really good. That was why we're actually doing this, like you said, is because that interview went so well. We're like, maybe we should talk about this world life thing
Yeah.
regularly. So that's what we're doing.
It's interesting because you know what? Like right now, this is excellent because this actually is like a lot of things going on right now in the world. A lot of things happening to us physically, right? Some of the things I've been called to kind of bring to light. I was just on the phone with one of my favorite people ever, Mama D, who's one of your big fans too. She says, I love him. He's so passionate. We were on the phone and she was giving me the rundown of how, energetically, like my body, right? Like I'm getting different feelings. Like my fingers, my hands get numb and tingly. Right now I've got like a massive pressure in my chest and in the center of my back. And I know I'm not having a heart attack. Like I know I'm okay. I also know that there's things happening externally in the world around me that I'm not in control of, and I have to like really like focus and be like, okay, is this me? Is this my body? Like, am I really in harm's way? Am I in danger? Or am I just like trying to pass through a bunch of energy that may or may not be mine, And I think it's the latter part, because I don't
Yeah,
know.
the Schumann Resonance, if you guys are familiar with that, which is
Mhm.
the energetic level of the planet, what the planet is resonating at, has been through the roof. They have a chart on it. You guys want to check it out. It's called the Schumann Resonance. It's very easy to find if you guys want to look, but it's the basically the vibration of the planet, and it's been off the charts for a good 6, 7 weeks at least now. It's been very intense, and it's funny you mentioned the chest pains, Alex, because I went through something very similar last year to the point where I went to the hospital because I was experiencing this like constant pain in my chest and I just couldn't shake it. And I was thinking it was my smoking because I was smoking cigarettes at the time. And it was just like intense. And I tried to stave it off for days and days. And finally, I told my brother about it. And the particular day I went to the hospital, I was just like dying in my bed. I thought, I was just like curled up in a ball, My brother's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Man, my chest is killing me." So I go to the doctor, go to the hospital, and I tell them I have chest pains in the emergency room. They take me right back there, and they hooked me up to all these monitors. And I knew within like 2 minutes that it wasn't serious because the questions they were asking me, and then like I saw the nurses that were doing the diagnostics on me look at each other like, this guy coming in with chest pains. And my heart rate was like 59 beats a minute, which is like pretty healthy. Um, so it was like they knew right away it was something. I had some kind of lung irritation, is what they ended up diagnosing me with. But
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because it's actually kind of the point I'm trying to get at, and that is, you know, we all have a choice right now, okay? And the choice is, yeah, we can go to a doctor, right? And go and ask them what's wrong, or we can do our own research and we can try and find holistic ways of healing ourselves. And the reason I bring this up is because the truth of the matter is like what's happening to us right now, like doctors don't know what the fuck is going on. Like they have zero clue. And
well,
the thing,
if it's ascension symptoms like we're talking about, I mean, if you have a really serious
yeah,
problem,
that's
go get checked out. It
that's it.
better
Like
be safe.
if you're
Better be safe than sorry. But yeah, it's
yeah,
they
if
do
you're a
mimic.
generally healthy person,
Yeah, they
and you're
do
starting to
mimic
feel
real symptoms. So it can be. It was really scary, man. I was scared to death. I thought I was dying.
well,
Uh,
let's talk about something else though, like that we believe in, at least that you talk about, right? Which is, if we believe the stuff that we talk about, we believe that we also to some degree can heal ourselves, right? Now, um, I truly believe that if we have a healthy diet and we have healthy rest and we have healthy amount of exercise, and healthy like, and I don't mean like lame or like vanilla. I mean like just healthy where you're not overindulging on anything.
mhm.
I think that you know that that in itself is, within your capacity, right? Like it's within your responsibility. I mean, if you're not living healthy and you're feeling some sort of way, like definitely go seek medical attention. But if you're a generally healthy person and you're feeling these things where you're like, that's odd, like yeah, you can go and go to a doctor, or you can try like looking into these things because I'll tell you right now, there's a whole community of people, not just BNI. I mean, we can talk about some of the ascension symptoms, right? Like the tingling. We can talk about headaches, nausea, nosebleeds. We could talk about pain in the chest, pain in the back. We could talk about constipation.
There's
Like
there's a lot of stuff too. And it's a lot of it's chakra related, right? Like I went through a phase where I was having this buzzing. It felt like a buzzing in my solar plexus, and it was just like a constant, just bzzz. And obviously, also with the astrological things happening, there's going to be a solar or a lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse tomorrow night into Friday morning.
right,
So
which is
that's
not
something.
helping. It's definitely
It's
not helping.
it's um it's something that like the moon does have an effect on, especially eclipses. This is astrology is not, it's not woo woo. These planetary bodies do affect us, and it's something, you look at any kind of moon chart and they advise you not to get any kind of surgeries during full moons. And at full moon eclipse, you want to absolutely stay away from surgery. But energy is, medical science has certain anomalies that they can't explain, such as the placebo effect, right? Like, if you guys aren't familiar with the placebo effect, this is when they're testing a new medicine, they have to account for it because when you have a test study on a sample group of people, there's a certain number of them that will heal themselves because they think they're taking a healing solution, right? Like a medicine will heal somebody and they'll give them a sugar pill, right? So they have to do a test, a focus or a test group, I think is what it's called in statistics,
Yeah,
where they have
case studies.
case studies there. So they'll have a group of people who are taking the actual medicine, and then they'll have people that are taking a sugar pill, right? And the sugar pill will actually cure people because of the placebo effect, which is the mind effect. The mind will actually because it thinks it's taking something for its symptoms, it will heal itself, right? And the sugar pill will magically, and this is a real thing. Like, look it up if you guys don't believe it.
Yeah, it's
It's
unexplainable.
literally, they can't explain it. They don't understand why. And it's because we have holistic abilities to heal ourselves. And these people who are healing
Right.
themselves through the placebo effect probably have some kind of deeper connection to the energy field that they have awakened that maybe they're not aware of. But it's
Well, the
something we,
truth,
we all can do. It's something that
well,
go ahead.
well, let's be honest, right? Like the stuff that like, if it's a natural occurring ailment or something that happens naturally, we're built to withstand those things, right? It's the man-made shit that we can't withstand. It's the viruses. Viruses aren't man-made. I mean, I'm sorry,
Or
the
stuff
viruses are man-made. Are
Roundup,
man-made.
in
Hmm.
pesticides, like chemicals in our
Hmm.
food, like that cause cancer, and
Hmm.
like a lot of the stuff, the pharmaceutical solutions, the food solutions, right? This is why
Right.
RFK has been so demonized, because he's calling out the stuff in pharmaceutical and the food industry that are causing illness that our body can't overcome because it wasn't designed for this.
Right.
Um, but our bodies are energetic, and the field around us is all energy. Everything is energy, right? Everything's energy vibrating at a frequency. And this is something with the placebo effect, it shows something deeper, a deeper truth is that we can heal ourselves, right? And the shamans of the
That
old,
part.
they would use herbs, they would use different things, like even like the story of Christ, we've kind of detailed that, where
Right. He
Christ would
didn't
heal
heal
people,
people,
right? He would heal
but
people, but it takes belief, and all these healers, people that are healers naturally now, will tell you they don't actually heal the person. It's the belief. If the person believes they're being healed, then they get healed. And that can account for some of these miraculous, Christian healers, right? Like the power of Christ compels you type of people, where they touch the person and then they can walk, right? Is because they believe it, right? It's like that's the power of the mind. Like this is really the mind creates reality, and in a lot of ways our bodies are in tune with the frequencies of earth, right? And when we're vibrating at a certain frequency, this is something I've talked about, is like the energy practices that I do, where I walk on the earth and I touch the trees. And I talked about this pretty extensively last episode if you guys want to check it out. But I interact with the elements, the water, the streams of water, and it's mindful, right? It's mindful intention, and magic is intentional, right? It's magic, not like the sorcery definition that we've talked about in past episodes, but like real magic, white magic is intention. It's your intention, and when you have the intention of healing yourself, you can do it. I did it with my torn ACL. I didn't grow a new ACL, but I healed myself to the point where I didn't need the ACL anymore. And this is something that medical science is starting to acknowledge, is the effect of interacting, like grounding is what they call it, right? The Native Americans used to walk on the earth with their bare feet. And I when I tore my ACL, I didn't know it was torn. I just thought I had a really bad sprain, and I had seen this stuff about grounding. So I started doing it, right? And then this was in the process. A couple months later, I still hadn't healed 100%. So I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on with this sprain. I'm going to go to the doctor. Went to the doctor. It took me another 2 months to get an MRI. And in the process, this whole process, I'm doing this energy practice where I'm touching the trees and walking on the earth. And by the time I finally got my MRI, or got into a specialist to who diagnosed, he said, I think you have something going on with your ACL. But by the time I got there, I didn't really feel it anymore. Right? Like I had kind of psyched myself into healing myself, right? And he finally did some stuff on my ACL. He's like, I think you need an MRI. It took another 2 weeks, but he told me before I got the MRI, he's like, have you ever heard of grounding? And I said, yeah, I've been doing it for the last 4 months, ever since I hurt myself. And he's like, good, keep doing it. Like the medical science is just starting to acknowledge that, like, this actually has benefits. Finally I got my MRI result after it had took me 6 months from the time I hurt myself to actually get the MRI result. He said, yeah, you have a torn ACL. And I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe I had torn ACL because like I literally was walking around normal. And if you guys know what a torn ACL is, it's literally like the most catastrophic knee injury you can get. Like in
Mhm.
sports, you're out for a year once you have ACL surgery. They'll put a cadaver ACL in your knee and you have to rehab it. And it's this long, drawn out process. So when I finally got the diagnosis, I asked the doctor, I was like, do I need this surgery? Like, I feel fine. Like, I couldn't believe that that it actually was a torn ACL. He's like, look, some people are able to overcome it and then they don't need it. He's like, this is a surgery you could always get 10 years down the road, but if you're not having problems with it now, there's no reason to put you through the surgery and a year of rehab. Like, just, keep an eye on it, which I've kept up with my practice of walking on the earth. I do it every morning. It's ritualistic at this point. It's part of my practice of spirituality. I tune in with the earth, and I've never felt better. Like my legs are in great shape. I'm 42 years old. Before I came to Georgia, I was, used to be a pro wrestler. I was training my students, and I was doing crazy shit, man. Like you can go back on my Instagram to, back in August and July of last year. I was doing some crazy shit that I shouldn't be able to do with it as a 42-year-old man with a torn ACL. But like I attested to the energy practice. Like I am conscious and intentional with my rituals, and it works because we're all just energy. That's all it is. It's all just energy vibrating at a frequency. And if you match the frequency of the healed self, you will heal yourself. And this is why the placebo effect works. So,
So Brian B always wants to share quotes, and I don't have no quotes to you for you today, but I do want to uh read three quick paragraphs about lunar eclipses and the energy significance, right? Because there is a lot of energy that's passing through. So it'll be just actually four paragraphs, forgive me. So it says lunar eclipses have been regarded in various spiritual traditions as potent times for introspection, transformation, and heightened energetic shifts. The alignment of the sun, earth, and moon during an eclipse is thought to symbolize a rare opportunity for personal alignment and growth. This celestial event is believed to open a gateway to higher consciousness, offering individuals a chance to release old patterns and connect with deeper aspects of themselves. The intensified energy during a lunar eclipse is often seen as a catalyst for significant personal development. It's considered, I'm sorry, this is a uh I guess it's just rewriting a different thing. So anyway, um it says it's important to approach this time with mindfulness. The powerful energies can bring unresolved issues to the surface, prompting emotional and spiritual work, right? So, um, definitely a time to close out cycles, right? Also something to consider. This is a year nine, right? So, 2025, 2 plus 2 is 4 and 5 is 9. And it's the closing of cycles and the beginning of new ones. So, um, you're gonna get like right now, one of the things that I don't know how often you go out into public, B, but I know I go out into public quite often right now, and I'll tell you, like, I'm a walking trigger for people. Like, people are getting triggered by me. If they haven't done the work, like, I don't even have to even say anything to them. Like, you could just tell, like, people are just, they know, they feel it. I don't know. It's like, if you know, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess maybe B
no,
understands.
100%, because it's you're vibrating at a different level, and that brings out people's shadows, right? When you're a light, when you're it's just like anything. It if if you're a if you're a hot cup of coffee, right? Say it's heat, right? It's going to use heat and cold. You're a hot cup of coffee. You pour that hot coffee into a cold cup of coffee. It's going to warm up that cup of coffee, right? It's just energy. It's just
So,
proof is
so
in the pudding, and it's just part of the mirrored effect
So
of
I just want to finish this last thing real quick because excuse me. It's funny because it says the very next sentence from where I left off, Engaging in grounding practices
Hmm.
such as meditation or journaling can help navigate these energies effectively. So it's like we're not just making this stuff up, guys, you know? In
No, not at
summary, in
all.
March, the March 2025 lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse presents not only a spectacular astronomical event, but also profound opportunity for spiritual reflection and healing. Whether observing the eclipse visually or turning into its symbolic significance, individuals may find this period ripe for personal growth and energetic renewal. So it's a great time to let go of shit, guys. You know, it's a great time to just purge.
Especially there's I think there's a solar eclipse before the end of the month too. So it's like there's a lunar eclipse tomorrow nightish, Friday morning-ish, right? There's a lunar eclipse and then there's a solar eclipse before the end of the month. So March is this huge energetic purging time where and especially it's the springtime too. It's the real beginning of the year. Like the our current Roman calendar is bullshit. The beginning of the year is not just January 1st. The beginning of the year is springtime. The spring equinox is the beginning of the new year, right? The solar new year is
I'm
the
not sure
real.
if I'm not sure if that's March 21st or March 29th,
I
but
think no, I think March 21st
I'm
is
gonna
the
find out in a second. But you're right.
March 21st is the equinox, but the solar eclipse is like a week later. So it's like we're literally going lunar eclipse, equinox, solar eclipse. It's just period of the next couple of weeks that are going to be. I
So
mean, if you think the last 6 weeks have been intense, the next 2 weeks are going to be fucking mega intense. It's already gearing up. I'm feeling it in my meditation. Like I'm
it's fine.
having
I
some
love it. You brought
wild.
up Mega. We'll get to Mega in a second. You're right, though, that there is a partial solar eclipse set to occur on March 29th, 2025. And you're right about that.
Yeah, it's coming, man. It's and we're just feeling the pre cum right, of the big orgasm that's going to happen in the cosmos in over the next 2 weeks. So it's just if you've already been experiencing these symptoms, get ready for it to kick up. And I would suggest doing some of the stuff that I do. Walk on the earth, ground yourself. If you have a forest near you with a stream, go put your hands or your feet into the stream. I've been dousing myself with water on the face. It feels amazing. But yeah, it's I've been feeling it very intensely the last couple of weeks. My meditations and dreams have been absolutely bonkers. Um, I've been feeling it right here, just in my meditation, just right here. The third eye has been, the way I told you about my solar plexus was buzzing for a while, and my third eye has been buzzing in meditations in an intense way. And I've been getting to this point where I'm not breathing. It's really weird. I've gotten to this stage before, but I kind of gotten away from it. But um, I mean, I'm not like consciously breathing. Like what's happening is it's hard to explain. Have you ever seen the Taurus field? Like it's the
Mm,
cone, it's the cone in the head and the cone down here, and it's the electromagnetic field of the body, right? So it's a torus field. Comes down to a cone. The energy comes out in a cone and then swoops down and goes down into your feet. It's a cone, just like
I
anyway.
believe I've seen it.
Yeah. So I've been I visualize this when I'm meditating, and I've gotten to this point in my meditations where I'm not breathing consciously through my nose. I'm sucking energy in through my feet and into my solar plexus, and it comes up and out through my heart and through my head. It's really wild, man. It's like it's literally I'm outside of the physical body in the spirit body. Like I don't. So it's like my
So those of
body.
you who don't know what he's talking about, I don't know if you could even see that.
I can only see the body. I can't see the actual Taurus field.
Oh, you can't see the Taurus fields? Oh, damn. That's
Um,
so. Of course, it'd be in a color you can't see.
But it's I fully attribute it this me kind of stepping into this level of meditation because of the energy field. What the Schumann resonance is showing with the energy fields of Earth. It's just like I'm kind of leaving the body, right? Like I do a lot of 5D meditation where I'm not really in the body, but like body's kind of an illusion. This is what people understand about astral projection and
Here you
remote viewing
go.
and that kind of stuff. There you go. Yep, force field. That's it. Is that when you leave the body, you're never really in the body. The body is you're kind of just we're inside of a soul, which is the consciousness.
Right, right.
All you're doing is moving into a different place, I guess, in the soul. It's kind of hard. It's hard to describe, but the spirit body is like the part of the fractal that is consciousness. The body is just a vehicle for the consciousness. And when you're in this level of meditation, the body just becomes kind of just this a paperweight. And but I've noticed my ability to tap into this really intense wave of energy. And it's gotten me to a point where I'm not my freaking heart rate is down to like 42 beats a minute. I think I clocked it out one time when I came out of meditation because I'm kind of monitoring my own functions of my body, but it's causing like intense levels of energy to be channeled into the physical through the spirit body. So it's one of the symptoms I think of what's going on in the planet is just this intense shift. We're in this really high energy point with these eclipses, with the Schumann resonance where it's at. So if you guys are feeling
So,
these, if you're on the spiritual path, you're feeling kind of weird and off. That's 100% why it's not an anomaly. You're not alone.
and even if and even if you're not in the spiritual path and you're feeling these things, understand like there's a reason why there's a trend right now for like make America healthy again and all these initiatives on food. Like this isn't a mere coincidence, it's by design. Okay, so there's all these different things that we need to address. And you know, we've we need to shift our focus and our thinking, our emphasis on things from, you know, there's a lot of these little projects that you've got making America great, making America healthy. Now we've got making education great. Um, and there's a lot of these little initiatives that they're like grassroots initiatives that need to happen,
Mhm.
and they don't happen by themselves. Like they don't magically just get people to just show up one day. Like it starts by people actually caring and showing up and participating. And so what I feel like is happening is, B and I were called to, put together and in a way, this kind of ties into the whole bigger picture of stuff. I know I said in the last podcast that I was going to be rebranding my Plank website, and um, I have managed to do that. I I uh, uh, I got something in the works right now, which I'm super, super stoked about. Very big supporter of Zen and X1, um, and so I've decided to incorporate into the bigger picture of everything. Um, you're familiar with MicroStrategy, right, B?
Mhm.
MicroStrategy is Michael Saylor's company.
Mhm.
So MicroStrategy's strategy is, by the way, they just rebranded to Strategy. They have artificial intelligence and business intelligence dashboards and software that they use to service enterprise clients and their profits, and then they invest into Bitcoin. So um, we're taking a similar approach to MicroStrategy, and we're launching a suite of tech services ranging from cybersecurity audits, pen testing, social engineering. Um, we're going to be doing software and app development, web development, and crypto mining. Um, and then also we've got 3D spatial rendering um, and basically creating like private metaverses for either galleries or retail shops or like builders, developers in real estate or people who have large portfolios of assets in real estate. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is like we're going to be providing these services, and we're going to be taking any of the profits that we make from that, and we're going to be putting it into another foundation we're calling Mega Strategy, right? Make education great again. That's the whole vision here. And the guys that I'm working with right now, they're they're gonna go do their thing over in DC sometime next month, and they're gonna be presenting. Um, so
We're
so right
actually
now,
almost out of time, brother. We're almost out of time on this first part, so maybe we should just wait until the to elaborate on this whole thing till the second part.
sure,
Yeah,
yeah, we can.
we got less than a minute. I'd hate to cut you off, but I don't want you to just be in the
No, no,
middle of
you're
it.
good. You're good. You're good. So
Um,
we'll pick it up right there where the guys I'm working with are going to DC, and we'll come back right after this message for
right
you.
after these messages from our sponsors,
That's right.
which are
Which
us.
are people.
You tired of these lo-fi brands that use sweatshop labor that everybody wears?
You looking for a t-shirt brand that's gonna set you apart from all the normies?
Well, it's time to ascend to another level of style with Alchemystic Apparel.
Everyone in the fifth dimension's talking about it. Christ himself has his own shirt. He's the Lion of Judah. The devil himself wants to get in on the action, but he can't have one. You know why? Because I took his head and I put it on a shirt.
I know what you're thinking. Mr. Alchemistic, I'm not a devastatingly handsome middle-aged man. I don't know if Alchemistic Apparel is for me. Don't be delulu like Lulu. Alchemistic Apparel is for everybody.
Get lucky with the four-leaf friends. Get Egyptian with Osiris. Got a bunch of haters? Pull a death card on them.
Your mom is gonna love Mystic Pyramid.
Heck, even dogs love Alchemistic Apparel.
It's time to step out of three-dimensional clothing and step in to Alchemistic Apparel. The link is in my bio.
And we are back for this episode 6 of season 2, Quantum Alchemists,
Right. Welcome back, y'all.
Total
And
Eclipse.
that's right, total lunar eclipse. So right before the interruption from our sponsors, um, we were talking about the project, the mega project, and the DC guys. So long story short, which is probably too late, these guys are going to DC. And so mega is something that they're talking about in their head. And the reason I'm bringing it up like this is because, you know, it's one thing to have someone's ear or attention in DC, and then they're like, okay, you have my attention. Now what? What's your plan? And so the interesting thing is that these guys that I'm working with, like, they know what they want to do. They know what they know what the end goal is that they want to achieve. I don't really think they know how to get there though. And the irony in all this is like I have a pretty clear roadmap on how I would get there if it was me, but I don't have their attention nor anyone's ear. So what's
So
gonna end up
what you're saying is they're like the underpants gnomes. Have you ever seen that episode of
No,
South Park?
explain. Explain.
So there's these underpants gnomes that are stealing Tweek's underpants, and they think he's crazy. And then one day, the boys are all having a sleepover at Tweek's house, and they catch the underpants gnomes in the act of stealing Tweek's underpants. So they take him to this fucking underground cave where the underpants gnomes live, and they have this business plan. The business plan is step one, steal underpants. Step two, question mark. Step three, profit. So it's like their plan is to steal the underpants to ultimately get profit, but the step two of the plan, it's an incomplete plan. They don't know how to how to turn the underpants into a profit. And it sounds like these guys are like the underpants gnomes.
They're the underpants gnomes. I love that analogy. I'll be like, you guys are the underpants gnomes, and I'll tell them straight up. Oh, that's fucking classic. Yeah, but I told them this earlier today. I'm like, um, and I get that you guys have their attention, which is great. I submitted a document that outlines exactly. So right now I have one, two, three companies set up, and the document that I outlined highlights two more entities I need to set up, making a total of five companies. One of which I need to set up overseas as an international fund or trust of some sort. And I outline exactly like boom, 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 like how I'm gonna do it, step A to Z to make education great again. So what I feel is gonna end up happening is they're gonna end up submitting my plan for Mega and saying it's theirs, and then I'm just gonna be like the spearhead behind it because they're not gonna be able to execute that. Like it's my plan.
Yeah.
So so really interesting there. But the reason I bring that up is because the reason why they even want to get into the whole Mega thing is to do what we're doing, B. They wanna literally create a it's funny because they want to create, in their words, okay, they want to create a social network that they can grow a community that's not on X or Facebook or LinkedIn or all the other popular ones that are censored. They want to have a place where they could show or disseminate information that is closely related to how the power structures have deceived us, lied to us, cheated us, stolen from us, raped us, pillaged us, plundered us, all those things that we're trying to do already. And they want to create a network, which is funny because now that I think about it, like they're telling me my plan back to me, which is funny. But it's okay. I'll let them run with it. Like they're trying to sell me on my own plan, which is cool because it lines up with everything we've talked about, you and I, B. Because that's why we started this podcast. We literally started this podcast because A, we're not just conspiracy theorists, which, by the way, I would like to clarify for all of you out there that are aligning with the stuff that we talk about. We're not the only ones. Like, if you look around, okay, and this is interesting because I was talking to Lady D about this. She's like, if you look around, the left has turned into conspiracy theorists, like we were the last 4 years, which is really funny because the last 4 years we were, the last administration, the anyone that was a supporter of Trump was like trying to find any little thing to like nitpick and be like, oh, like they're doing this and they're doing that, they're conspiring, blah blah. And and what she pointed out, which is kind of funny, was you know the fears of the left of the right were we didn't want the communism, right, was the communism that we didn't want from the left, and then the left's fear is that they didn't want the fascism from the right. So it's like uh you've got the and this is and like this is like the deep problem with the partisan system, right? You've got the communists and the fascists, right? And they're blurring the conversation between the two polarities, and that's where B and I are trying to navigate, which is like we're not communists and we're not fascists, and we don't support any of their ideologies. We're just trying to help people get through the everyday pains of dealing with the knowledge and information, the burden of knowledge, right? The burden of understanding. And a lot of that comes from education, right? Because you're not going to understand shit that we're talking about unless you go and you get educated, unless you go and get informed. And we're just one channel. Like B and I can't possibly cover all the things that we would love to talk about, but we're trying to get there. I'd love to report also that this is actually the first time since since I've had this laptop, which shout out to Vahe and Sergey for contributing to the quantum fund to help me get the laptop because my last computer got burnt out. Um, and when I got the laptop, I don't know what happened, but there was some sort of thing wrong where like I couldn't hear the speakers and there was the audio card never worked, right? And somehow last week I just, I did an update on the computer. Like Linux is amazing because you could just enter a line of code and it'll literally go through all the applications that you have and it'll update all of them. And so I did it and then I'm in the process of doing some stuff on the computer, and all of a sudden I hear think, 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 and you hit the backspace too many times on like a line, and you can't go any further back. It's letting you know, motherfucker, you can't go further back. That's it, stop. And I started hearing that, and I'm like, whoa, and it was loud. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, my speakers are working. Um, so I'm going into all that because now for the first time and since we started doing this podcast, I'm actually on my laptop, which is great because now I feel like we can actually get ready to do everything I've always wanted to do, which is the screen share stuff and going into the deep dive of all the other evidence of the stuff that we want to talk about, which is exactly the stuff that these guys want to talk about with this mega thing, okay? Um, so I'm really excited about that, B, because we'll be able to go and remember that Pleiades archive I sent you that
Hmm.
has like all those links of all those different topics that I wanted to talk about, which it's funny because we've gone through 13 or 14 episodes of season one and 6 episodes of season two, and we have not even scratched the surface of that. Um, so what I want to do is now that I have my laptop back, which is absolutely fantastic, and I've got a little bit of time. Oh shit. Uh, did you hear that? I
I
don't know
did.
how. Yeah,
I did
I don't
hear
know how
it.
to silence that.
It's all right. Just tell them, hey, fuck off. I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's just a group message, fucking Telegram. Anyway, uh, the whole point is now that I have some things in the works, what I want to do is now that I have access to my laptop full force again, I want to get back with you. I want to actually up the schedule. If we could shoot more, I want to get more into the conspiracy stuff and start going through some of these documents. Um, I've got a lot of literature that we can tear apart. Starting with the banking stuff that I sent you. Like there's just so much information out there, guys, that like we won't ever do it justice really to try and like you guys are gonna have to do some of the work. We're trying to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but the point is, um, a lot of this information, guys, like we've been granted the gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding. Um, not to hoard it, not to just keep it for ourselves and just talk back forth between B and I. B and I thankfully have we don't understand this stuff, we overstand it, um so we are in a position in a place where we can help now pass along a lot of the stuff that we've learned along our path and let you know like yeah guys, it's true. We've been robbed, stolen from and all these different things, basically put under what do they call it? Um where you're basically a serf who created a serf state where
Caste system.
a what?
It's like a caste system where it's a system of societal steps, right? Of like what's the word? Just look it up. Caste system. You're born into a certain economical level, and you can't really
Caste or
ever
class or class?
class. You're born into a class, and you're basically doomed to swirl the toilet in that class.
Right,
It's been engineered into the system that it's really hard to come up.
right,
And the reason so And to preface everything Alex is saying is like there's a lot of information out there that you guys probably aren't aware of. And this goes back to something we said a couple episodes. There's two types of people that will never be satisfied: the lover of knowledge and the lover of pleasure. So while we want to give you as much of this knowledge as you can handle, you have to understand spiritually this knowledge will never grant you the golden key, right? The golden key is within you. And while we are attempting to enlighten you with this information, and this information is valuable to really understand what's happening in the construct of human society, the ultimate goal is to find something within yourself that makes you happy, right? Like your happiness isn't going to come from achieving a level of pleasure or a level of success monetarily or a level of knowledge. There's no end game in enlightenment. Like and if anybody in the spiritual community or anybody wants to sell you this illusion that at some point you're going to have enough knowledge to call yourself enlightened, that you're striving for the something outside yourself to put a little light on your head, that a beacon of light coming from your head that says I'm enlightened, that will tell everybody else around you that you're enlightened, that you're searching for a myth. Like ultimately, please consume the information we're giving you because it's important. It's important to understand how we went awry, where the things in society have done us wrong and kept us in a lower state of vibration of degradation in a lot of ways. One of the goals of this podcast is to bring you out of that state of degradation, not just with the knowledge of this said system that is keeping you down, but to give you the knowledge to drag yourself out of it. Because the only person that's going to save you is you. I can't save you. Alex can't save you. Jesus Christ can't save you. Jesus Christ told you that you're here to save yourself, and he gave you the tools and the path to do it. So if you're sitting waiting for Jesus to come on a cloud to save you, and you want to let the world go to shit, you're approaching it in the wrong way. And Jesus was a revolutionary. He was here to show you how to enlighten and awaken your temple and enlighten your connection to the divine so that you can save yourself. That's the second coming. But all of this to say is like we could give you all this knowledge. We could bake the breadcrumbs into big loaves of bread that will help you, that you can put into your brain and just consume information from us, which will help you. But ultimately, spiritually, you have to find it within yourself. You have to find something within yourself that powers your happiness, whether it be creating something, striving for something. Find it within yourself. That's my advice to you. As somebody who, like Alex was saying, the right was a conspiracy theorist. Now the left's a conspiracy theorist, and everybody's looking for this hidden truth about, oh, what's Elon doing? What's Elon's real motivation for uncovering all this stuff? And then, 5 years ago, it was, oh, where are the hidden ballots that they for Trump that were stored away, that or what did they change in the ballot system? It's just it keeps going forever. Like this conspiracy stuff, trust me, I'm somebody that started it with 9/11 20 freaking 3 years ago. And I was in the rabbit hole for over a decade trying to find that elusive truth, and putting my hope in Barack Obama to bring us out of the Bush era, only for him to do the exact same shit. And then that disillusioned me to that whole fucking illusion of, oh, left and right. Oh, the Barack Obama's going to save us. No, Barack Obama didn't save shit. He bombed more people than anybody. Oh, Trump is going to save us. No, he didn't really do a whole lot that first. So it's like, stop putting your faith into things outside of you, into political ideologies or religious ideologies or systems of man. That's where we're going wrong, is putting all this stock into systems of man and knowledge of man. Socrates was probably one of the most wise people in the world, in the history of man. And he said, a fool does think himself wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. Because there's as much knowledge as you could pack into that brain of yours, in this lifetime, you still don't know where you go when this body dies.
Hmm.
So it's like it's almost futile. And this is kind of the point that I've gotten to with my own life is striving for anything within the material. It's all internal. It's all trying to line myself up with the creator, line myself up with my spirit, what feels good to me within. What feels good to me within is going out into nature and interacting with trees and streams and seeing deer in their natural habitat. That lights me up. Watching animals, watching my dog enjoy herself out in nature. Like it's just little stuff, man. It's little stuff that lights me up. Having my cup of coffee in the morning and feeling the sunlight, sucking the sunlight into my third eye in the morning when it's coming up over the trees and feel the warmth come into my body and literally take over my entire energy field. Like it's tuning into that stuff. That's the stuff. That's the real stuff. It isn't the pleasure. It's not the striving for cool stuff that's never going to fill my hole. It's not even knowledge anymore really because it's like I'm even with the spiritual stuff, man. I've consumed so much and now it's just repetitive. It's just like, all right, I'm just reinforcing the things I already know. And
Well,
it's
well,
like,
this is the part now, B, that you're getting to, and this is like kind of, I'm glad you touched upon that, because it does you no good to be a honed and a sharp vessel for God if you're just sitting inside and you're not interacting, you're not engaging with the universe, you're not engaging with the reality around you. Because it's not just meant for you, right? That's selfish. That's selfish for you
yeah.
to hoard all the knowledge, right? There's people all around you that need you to go talk to them and
Hmm.
that are lonely and that are going through shit and that have zero fucking idea about what's happening in the world and their world's falling apart and they don't know why because they don't understand energies and they don't understand how to ground themselves and like bro like I like and this is the part where like yes we're doing this through the podcast, right?
Hmm.
And but I know that my greatest work is not going to be here in front of the computer, although I will get a lot of it done here. My greatest work is going to be when I go out and I talk to people in public.
100%, dude. That's where I'm at, bro. It's like I can't sit here consuming any more information. It's just an overload. And then I go online and I see all these people like you're talking about who are just lost and depressed, and they just you could tell they're ideologically captured. They're worried about all the stuff Trump and Elon are doing, or they're worried about the liberals like turning their kids transgender, or they're worried about so much stupid shit.
Analysis
And
paralysis.
it's just it's what the system is designed to do is capture your mind. You capture you put you in a state of fear, whether you're fearing the left and you fear the right, you fear the communists, or you fear the fascists, or you fear the Jews, or you fear the Russians, or
Muslims.
you fear the Muslims, or you fear Hollywood. It's just,
Mhm.
man, that's not, this isn't the world here.
Right.
This
So
thing
so on that
here,
note,
this isn't the world.
uh, on
False
that note,
reality.
definitely, um, social detoxing, media detoxing, just like, you know, it's it's not, how should I say, it is healthier to have less screen time and more in-person time. Um, I know it's obviously a lot easier said than done, and especially when like, you know, I was watching this video and it's interesting because like my feed on YouTube has been getting like really scrambled with all kinds of random shit. And I love it because now I'm getting stuff where like I see people popping up where they're having conversations. Like you ever heard of a website called Omegle from back in the day?
Mm.
It's like it's called like chat roulette, where like you would basically be like we are right now, and like you would start it, and it would be some random person from anywhere in the world, and you don't even know like it could be any language that they talk, and so like people are, I mean that's been around for a while now, but I see that I guess it's still a popular thing to do, and on there I saw. This girl talking about how people are weird, and like she was an Asian girl and whatever, and she was saying that people just do weird stuff. And And when you think about like what's happening in the world right now, like we're all trauma victims. Like we've all been battered to shit. We all have PTSD to some sort. We all have trust issues. We don't trust our own government. We don't trust our families. We don't trust our friends. We've been backstabbed. Like we've been betrayed. Yeah, like we have a lot to come, a lot of traumas to come back from. And so starting with the virtual is good, but like getting out there is and I'm guilty of this too. Like I try and get out as much as I can. It's really difficult, and then I don't know about you, B, I'll talk for myself. Um, when you are as tapped in, and I don't mean this to say like I'm fucking jacked in, bro. Like I like I'm not saying that at all.
No, I mean you are, bro. Like that's why I say I cherish our conversations because there's so few people that understand where I'm coming from. But I mean, for I feel for you because you're in Los Angeles and you're in the concrete jungle. Like, if anyone's ever flown into Los Angeles, you see it and you feel it when you're flying into that city, man. It's just literally a whole fucking 50 square miles of
Mhm.
concrete jungle. And like, I'm so blessed to be here where I'm at right now because I'm literally got the opposite. Like, there's some like concrete city stuff, but like, man, like literally all around me is just parks and forests and just fucking waterfalls. Like, and I'm going out and I'm getting to see this stuff and like be like I'm filming deer like eating in the forest, like it's Bambi right in front of me. It's fucking magical, and you see how magical nature is, and just getting to consume that is just energizing, and you
Right.
understand why the Native Americans believed the things they did, right? And like how we've been so disconnected from that in our modern world. And yeah, I feel for you not being able to have that just at your disposal. Like it's literally down the street from me. I mean, I
Yeah.
could literally walk outside the back of my mom's property and there's a lake and then there's this little stream and a little forest back there that I can just go walk to.
But there
Um,
are other aspects to this that like I want to bring up, which is, right now, because of the ascension symptoms and all the stuff that we're going through, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's going through like this stuff, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one that's leveling up. And by that I mean like I've always been a little weird, I've always been like a little ESP-ish, if you want to call it that,
hmm.
and now during these times it's amplified. Like I don't have control over it. Like I know, but I'm also more aware of how amplified it is. So like um and the reason I'm bringing this up is because when I used to be a real big people person. I used to love going around big groups of people, but now I've noticed over the course of my age, like I can stand groups of people, but it has to be the right kind of people, right? Because certain energies will just drain me. If I go to like a certain types of events, like there's just energy vampires there because that's all they do. They go there to suck the energy out of the crowd, like
No, I
so.
feel that 100%, bro. I can't be around large groups of people, and it
No,
sucks because I love people, man. Especially like
right.
I mean, in a limited setting, like I'm seeing it, and this is why you're feeling the way you're feeling, right? Is like you're tapping into people's energy
Hmm.
on a next level. Like you're probably reading their mind in a lot of ways, reading their energy.
Sometimes.
You could probably tap into their thoughts without really knowing you are tapping into their thoughts. Because I know I feel it too, but like on a limited basis, say I'm out in the park with my mom, we just come across random people that are really nice. They're really nice out here. They got their dog or whatever, and I'll connect to them, right? I'll fucking look in their eye and like you feel it, right? You feel they might not feel it of like understanding the oneness, but I see it, right? It's like seeing the creator in people's eyes, and it's it's rewarding, right? It's only on like a when you're dealing with one-on-ones type of things. Like in a bigger group, it's really hard. It's really hard for me because I'm literally feeling everybody's energy, and it's just like I don't even know what's mine and what's theirs in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
it's very discombobulating and it drains me. And
Right. But it's also important for people to understand, like, those energies, it can go two ways. You can ride the positive wave, or you can be in really negative situations and not necessarily even be you. You just picking up energies from people around you that are just they're just scummy people, or so you get scummy energy. And and this is just something I'm just stating this because like yeah, maybe you're like stating the obvious for you, B, but like people don't know this stuff. Like people literally sometimes will be like, man, out of nowhere, I don't know why I just got upset. Like no reason at all. And so, but yeah, well, this is why, because you're being energetically triggered, because there's things that you need to be aware of. Like if you're getting angry about stuff, like you need to be more conscious about what your triggers are. Because there's no reason, there's absolutely zero reason for anyone in this 3D realm to absolutely lose their shit and get upset. Because at the end of the day, when you get to this level of enlightenment, you realize like, oh, something happened here because there's a lesson, right? And yes, it's easier said than done. Obviously when something bad happens to you, the normal thing to think isn't, oh, this happened for a reason. It's like, why me? Usually. But over time, when you start changing those patterns, you start thinking, well, what did I do wrong? And sometimes, like we talked about in previous stuff, when there's more than just you involved, for example, there's other people involved, maybe you didn't do anything wrong at all. Maybe your job was just to teach someone else something that they had to learn. And it could be as simple as that.
Or
You
maybe you
know?
got caught in the residual of somebody else's crap, you know.
Ooh, that one.
Um,
Yep.
so this is
Bro.
I'm gonna give you guys a perfect example of this. Um, my sister is a fairly negative person. It's something that my mom and I have tried to break her of. And her husband's a very negative person. And her environment is very negative, right? Her husband's dad and his grandpa live with them. So
That sounds very negative.
yeah, my sister every day is calling my mom, just going off about the old man and all the stupid shit he does and da 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 da. And she's just like constantly, like the other day they spent her Costco points, which was like amounted to $6, and she was just losing her fucking mind over $6 worth of Costco points. But it's like Eeyore, right? If you guys are familiar with Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore is the black. He's always got the black cloud around him, and it follows him. And that's a fucking great lesson for kids, man. Is that Eeyore is literally attracting this dark cloud. It only follows him, right? And if someone else gets close to him, they're getting rained on too, right? And this that's a fucking un
It's a real thing.
it's a truth. It's a truth within Winnie the Pooh about Eeyore. He is literally creating the reality, and it's following him, right? And so, she's very negative, and like her life is this constant cycle of negativity, and it's something my mom and I have tried to get her to understand. Like for a long time, she's oh, I want a house, and she was like poo pooing and crying about to my mom about her house and trying to get my mom to help her buy a house and this and that. Finally, her husband got a job and they bought a house, right? Didn't make her happy, of course, because it wasn't the house that was getting her down, right? It was like this constantly wanting something that she doesn't have, right? And then
Fill
she
that
gets what
void.
she like for the longest time she wanted a kid, right? And she was having just certain issues, health issues, or she didn't know she's going to be able to have a kid. She ended up having this miracle baby, but he's autistic, right? So there's challenges that come with him. But it's like you got your baby, you got your house. These are things you wanted, but like you don't see those things as blessings now because now you're just wrapped up in this negativity over
Right.
and over and over again.
Which
You know, you're not happy that you have a warm shower. You're not happy that you have food in your house that you wanted so badly.
right.
You're not happy. You're just mad because the old man is there and he spent your fucking Costco points. Do you understand, guys, what I'm saying? Like it's your perception. She can't see the blessings that are right there in front of her face because she's so wrapped up in the negative, right? And then they're going camping this week, which should be this great thing, right? Turns out the day they're going camping, it's gonna snow.
Isn't that a
Eeyore,
good thing?
Eeyore, and the fucking dark cloud. No, I don't think they wanted it to snow.
Oh, okay.
Uh, they
I've never seen snow. So for me, if I was gonna go camping and it started to snow, like for me, it'd be a great thing because I've never seen snow in my life. So
They
like,
got a 5-year-old autistic child, and they're going camping with another group of people who have a kid, and so it's like the snow complicates things, right? So it's like it was supposed to be this really fun time, but here comes the dark cloud, right? It's like
fucking Eeyore.
it's becoming it's now a positive situation that was supposed to be fun is going to be a negative situation with the weather,
And
right?
they're gonna
Because
carry it with them there
it's
too.
oh man, it's going to be cold. Oh, and instead of which like you said, like positive, oh cool, snow. Like they could look at it that way, but the way that they look at things is the dark cloud, right? So it's like I hope that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
that's
no,
kind of this is something I've seen on from periphery outside looking in at her life, like
100%.
and how she deals with her problems, how she deals with her environment, right? Is her entirely her perception of this constant negativity, not looking at any of the positives ever, always looking for a negative thing, which
Right,
is like right now it's in her environment is her husband's grandpa that's living with them. He's 100% a source of like constant negativity, and she's always talking to my mom about all the things this guy does that pisses her off, and instead of looking at positive things, and this is guys, if you could take this for your own life and apply it to your own situations, like
right,
so powerful. Gratitude is probably one of the most powerful things that you can incorporate into your life
right.
because for all of the political and whatnot strife in this country, the things about the patriarchy or the fucking this or that or Trump or the liberals or or like all the shit that we talk about this country
Aliens.
and illegal aliens and
I meant spatial aliens, but
oh,
illegal ones too.
but like all this negativity that like the news is putting on us, right? And all the negativity that certain ideologies have about this country, like or the eat the rich, oh that's the fuck the rich people and fuck Elon. And so like all this negativity and all this like poo-pooing about your own life. If you live in this country and there's this whole remember the 99%, the one percenters that let's eat the rich, the one percenters, and talking shit about the rich and all this stuff. If you live in this country, you're a 10 percenter at least, maybe even a 5 percenter in the entire world, right? Like living in this country is a privilege. A privilege. There's so much to be grateful for about your life in this country, and we're stuck in this bubble of negativity about different stuff. They give us things to be negative about, so that you end up like my sister, where
Right,
you're constantly looking at negative things. You're constantly chasing something outside of you that you think is going to make you happy, like the house with her kid. She wanted to
right,
have a baby. She had a baby. She wanted to have a house. Now she has a house. It didn't make her happy because
right.
nothing outside you is ever going to make you happy. It comes from within you. But
So,
like it's this lack of gratitude that keeps you in this perpetual system, this perpetual low vibrational degraded state because and that's how powerful gratitude is. It can bring you out of it because it makes you realize, holy fuck, we live like better than kings and queens of the medieval times. We have warm baths. We have food at our in the grocery stores that we can just go grab, and we have fucking running water. We can take a shit and flush it, and it goes away, right? It's like there's little things that are so powerful once you recognize it, and it will literally supercharge your life. It will change your life if you start looking at it this way. And if
right.
think about it, we're almost out of time on the second part, but I want to kind of cap it off with this, like if you were the creator and you created a being and all that being ever did was talk shit about all the great things that they have in their life, they never looked at the good things, they're always fucking focused on the negative things, would you give that being more to be ungrateful about? No. This is like if you're looking at energy and like how this stuff works and magnetizing good or magnetizing bad to yourself. Life is a feedback loop. You're going to keep getting feedback of what you're putting into it. If you're putting in nothing but negative Eeyore fucking bullshit, you're going to attract black clouds to your life and you're never going to get out of that state of mind. You're never going to be grateful. You're never going to be happy. You're always going to be poo poo. And even if God gave you the fucking lottery, right? You'd find a way to fuck it up, and you'd find a way to fucking be miserable about it, because it's all your mindset. And if you're stuck in a poo-poo Eeyore mindset, it doesn't matter what you get, you're never going to be fucking happy. And God's not going to give it to you. Why would God give you the world if you were just going to poo-poo it? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, get your heads out of your asses. We
Your
love you.
body, your body is an electromagnetic conductor of energy. If you activate the electromagnetism of your body, you will attract the things that you put into it, right? So if you're putting in positive energy and positive action, and just manifesting positive, and just working on yourself, becoming the best version of yourself, being happy for what you have, and it just snowballs into something great.
I will
or
say
it
it's
can
not easy.
or
Not
or
easy.
it can snowball into something terrible if you keep feeding in bullshit and negativity and lack of gratitude. You will never get the life that you're looking for if you are not grateful. And it all starts with gratitude, is basically what my point is in this whole rambling,
Mhm.
hopefully coherent
Well,
diatribe. Like,
I know a lot of people are saying that, you know what, being grateful is exhausting, and that it's true, it is. And it's you have to get into this into this pattern of exhausting yourself, of being grateful and getting so exhausted in being grateful that you start to just live that way. And then what will happen is that that the blow, the force of that energy that's trying to take you down is diminished, and it helps you thrive. Not only thrive, but you strive. Like you do much better because those energies have no force against you. So
well, and then you realize how much you do have to be grateful for, man. There's a lot, especially like I said, you're a 10 percenter or better if you're living in this country. Like, you don't realize how fucking wonderful you have it here. And if you need a refresher course and what you have to be grateful for, look at some of these kids in Africa who literally chisel rocks for a quarter of a cent a day, and they eat nothing but rice for every meal, and they're lucky to even to get that meal. Like, literally, there's a lot of degradation in this world of just absolute poverty. And
yeah.
like, there's cities in this world that have no running water or sewage. Like, it literally smells like human shit 24/7, and then you could be living in that place. So like, start being grateful, and you will be surprised at how much it supercharges your life and starts to lead towards more positive things, to where you actually are magnetizing better things into your life. So that's all. I got cut off there, but I was trying to end the episode. But basically, be more grateful, guys. And we've got this very, very powerful, significant, cyclical event in the cosmos going on right now with this lunar eclipse. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a ritual, but it is kind of a ritual. Something to do to, if you're somebody like my sister, the example I gave of my sister, if you're constantly cycling negativity, and you want to find a way out of it, get a list, right? And write all the things all the things you need to do to change, right? All the things that your body, maybe you have habits, maybe you smoke, maybe you do drugs, maybe you do drink a lot or whatever. Anything that you would like to change about yourself, write it on a list. Write on the same list everything you're grateful for, whether it be people, places, things, your job, whatever. Write all the negative stuff, write all the positive stuff. And there's two things you could do. One, you bury it, or two, light it on fire. Or write the positive things on one list and bury it. Write the negative things on the other list and burn it. Do that
Well,
for do that for the eclipse.
that's actually a great ritual to participate in. And you know, uh to do that at this point, I think it's important that we reflect on those things and understand that there is such thing as toxic positivity too. don't be overly positive also, and like it's okay, and like it's okay for people to just treat you some sort of way because that's not what it's about,
Hmm.
right? You want to have boundaries, healthy boundaries. You want to be positive and optimistic, but you don't want to allow other people to um also like take advantage of you, right? Like you can be positive and optimistic and be nice and also not be a pushover. And also like you can tell people no. Like in fact, um there's there's one thing I saw recently on this one episode, this guy named Mickey Mace who's it's funny because he's a degenerate gambler and he says so himself, but he said something that kind of like uh sparked my interest, which was if you're a no man, you're gonna have no experience and you're gonna have no opportunities in life. And being a yes man, like, and I think being a yes man or a yes woman or no man, no woman is, within reason, right? Like, we have to use logic and reasoning and we have to use calculated calculations to like assess things, but um many of us, sometimes we'll get this intuitive push that we should do something. And I'll give a brief example before we go. Um, I don't want to say his name, but someone that we know mutually. I'll tell
I
you
already know
after.
who you're talking about.
No, no, you
No,
don't.
I already know who you're talking about. I mean, yeah, go ahead, but I already know who you're going to talk about.
Nope, nope. So someone that you and I know that I introduced you to, that we
Hmm.
went to the beach one day,
Hmm.
has recently lost his place. Or I shouldn't say lost it. He surrendered it. um, and he's decided to move into his car or a car. And it's like, but you know what though? He's like, yo, it's a shitty situation to be in, but he's like, God told me it was okay, like I should do this. He's like, uh, he's also, spiritual on the path and everything. And he's like, you know what? He's got a lot of legal stuff going on, and point is like he's also got a problem with like a health problem because the places he was at was actually killing him. There's mold. He hired a private inspector to come and inspect the place, and there's mold in there, and it was affecting him and his girlfriend's breathing, and so their health was deteriorating. And he's in a lawsuit with them. But and the reason I'm bringing this up is like, yeah, he could sit there and continue to deteriorate his health and just to prove a point, or he could just up and go and fight the battle still, but just not be there and like he can improve his health. So he's like, you know what, dude? He's like, obviously it's not the greatest of things. He was, I can go stay at my mom's, but I don't want to because like that's not what he's being called to do. And he's like, and he's like his mom's helping him out and stuff. But the point is, he's ended up like between him and his girl, like I think they're renting a hotel or something like that. The point is like they don't have a place to stay right now. And like he goes, most people would think it's crazy that like I would volunteer to do this, but in light of the information that he knows based on his circumstances, like it's the best possible option for him. And while you and I were recording, he texted me saying he beat his case. And so now the landlord that was trying to sue him for like 30 grand in back pay now has got their thing in their hand and they can't do nothing because the case was dropped. He surrendered the place. Which is another interesting thing I guess I learned about California, which was if you owe, and I don't know if it's anywhere else, maybe if you guys know, like drop comments below, but if you're being evicted from a place and you owe back rent and they try and sue you for that amount of money, and two things. One is you cannot sign any paperwork that they give you. Otherwise, like that, when the moment you put a signature to stuff, like that's like a almost like a settlement type deal. So no signature on anything, and you vacate the premises before before there's a judgment, and they literally cannot they can't come after you because it's basically like you surrendered the place. It's like he wasn't even there. He told me that they threw out the case. He doesn't know any of that back money, and they can't come after him. And now, in fact, he still has a lawsuit against the landlord because of the mold stuff and his health, and it's actually working out in his favor. Like, yeah, he's living in a car, but he's about to get paid big bucks because he's been fighting with his landlord for since like April or March of last year, almost for a year, to take care of the mold problem, and they didn't do it. They just painted over it, and that didn't solve the problem. They just added a layer of paint over it, coat of paint. It didn't take the mold out, and so it kept accumulating, and like that created a case because, like, well, that's their responsibility to fix all that. And there's a trail of documents that like shows that he's been complaining about this for months. And so anyway, the whole point is like, even as messed up as a story as that is, like there is an upside, right? And it's not coming from me, it's coming from him. He's like, yo, like he goes, yeah, things are great. I may not be in a place, but things are working out in my favor, and that's the light that he's looking forward to, you know. So anyway, so the whole point is, yeah, it's all perspective, you know. Be careful of toxic positivity. um do have boundaries, don't let people walk over you. um and I think that and just be kind to each other, you know. Like, people are going through shit, doesn't mean like we have to accept people's bum behavior, but a little understanding. Like, we're all at different levels of comprehension. It's like I call them spiritual babies, right? You know, my friend B here and I think we can call ourselves adepts at this point to some degree. And you've got people that are barely coming into this, and they're like starting to barely, you know, crawl, if you want to call it that. Like, they're spiritual babies. So there is, let's, you know, and it's funny because there was levels to the stuff that I was seeing, that even in the circles, okay, even in the elite circles, the knowledge that B and I talk about, you know, it's funny because the higher up in degrees in masonry that you go, what happens is there's there are higher up circles that intentionally were created uh to derail you from achieving higher levels of ascension. That's their sole job. Their sole job is to distract you and derail you from getting any higher in your ascension path. And that's its sole purpose. So there are tests that are deliberately put out there. And I come to find out that wealthy people and celebrities that are in circles, you know, of affluence also target people like B, like myself, people that are special to some degree, people that have capacity, or that have the ability to influence others, to snap them out of their sleepiness, or you know, whatever you want to call it. And like, the moment they come across people like B or I, like, we get onto some sort of list, and then we become targets for them to go and attack and try and do all kinds of like humiliation rituals and stuff like that they do all amongst their little circles. And it's just part of the game, right? You're either part of the club or you're not. Plain and simple.
Well,
And
there's a lot of shit
so,
within the spiritual community too that's trying to capture people. Like stuff I was saying earlier, if there's anybody out there that's trying to sell you some kind of in-game enlightenment and that they can show you the way, you know, that's 100% snake oil, because that's a bullshit lie. Like there's a lot of deception and shadow stuff in the spiritual community, because there's people who are special, who are who have spiritual gifts that you know, that God has chosen, that are trying, the shadows trying to capture these people because they have gifts, right? So there's different stuff within the spiritual community. I've talked about the narcissism that's rampant in spirituality. And this is something that, like, I was going through the different stages of alchemy, right? Negrito, albedo, rubido, right? The black, the white, and the red paths. The black path will capture a lot of people and stick them there because there's a lot of spiritual distractions when you're trying to decalcify and clear out your old bullshit and heal and really like purify yourself. There's going to be a lot of fucking ego stuff that comes and tries to grab you, make you and tell you, hell, you've reached enlightenment. You know, it's like, or there's people that are drifters that are going to come in and try to sell you on their program. Oh, I've got this program. Like it's
Mhm.
just it's dirty, and there's what I was saying earlier kind of sums it up is like if you're in the spiritual path and you're seeking knowledge, just know, just find Rumi. Find Rumi. If you're a spiritualist, find Rumi. Because
Find
Rumi,
room for Rumi.
yeah, Rumi's quotes sum up the spiritual journey to a T. And one of the things he said was that, you know, that the lover of pleasure and the lover of knowledge will never be satisfied. You have to understand that there's no attainment in the path of enlightenment. You are already there. It's the illusion that you aren't there that keeps you running in circles. Um,
And
and I
unless
want
you
to kind of,
understand that the path is the enlightenment, right? So
yeah,
long as you
the
realize
journey
that
is the
there's
destination.
yes, exactly. When you're trying to seek knowledge, the journey is the destination.
It's just like finding the path itself is the enlightenment. It's like that's the
Yes.
gift, and this is the one of the things even in the spiritual community where people will get into psychosis or they'll get into spiritual depression when the truth is so evident, right? When you see the matrix for what it is, and you understand that the 85% or more of the population is stuck in this low vibrational state, and you're compelled to want to drag people out, everyone you love, you want to try to tell them the truth. And this is something with the conspiracy stuff is like you find this alternative matrix sponsored version of the truth because the truth you've been told is all lies. Like the mainstream construct of human society is nothing but lies. And then the conspiracy stuff comes in and gives you more lies, but you think it's the truth because it's alternative to this other lie. And then you get caught in this lie ping pong game, right? Of like trying to bring some people out of the old lie into the new lie. And it's just nonstop rabbit hole. It's just you get stuck in it, right?
Yep.
It comes from within you, and finding the path is the blessing. and
Right.
and there is no end game. The journey is the destination, or the journey is the destination.
Right.
And I want to sum it all up, everything you were just talking about, Alex, with this one quote my buddy Adnan, his dad, gave him, that kind of sums up life as a whole, right? Don't be so sweet that life will eat you up, and don't be so sour that life will spit you out. I thought that was a beautiful, like, wise and apt saying, right? Like if we can approach life in that fashion where we're not overly people pleasing, we're too sweet to the point we get walked all over by everybody, and we're not so sour that everyone's like, "Oh man, that dude's an asshole." Find that middle ground where you're not so sweet that the world eats you up and you're not so sour that the world spits you out. Find that balance. And ultimately, that's the middle way. That's the razor's edge, right? We're walking right here between these two polar opposites that are trying to drag us away. It's just find that middle path. That's why the Buddhist path, the Christ path is the middle way. And if you can find that middle way, you won't be too sweet and you won't be too sour.
I
So
like it. I think it's a wonderful message.
yeah, man, and enjoy this lunar eclipse. Is a great opportunity over the next 2 weeks between this lunar eclipse and this solar eclipse at the end of March to really kind of retool your energy and be conscious and intentional in everything that you do, and be honest with yourself where you're at. Like I said, write all the negative stuff and burn it. Write all the positive stuff and bury it like a seed and grow it. And we'll see you next time, guys.
We love you.
Enjoy that lunar eclipse.
Peace.